Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to unpack the absolutely incredible story of Netflix. And believe it or not, it all started with a late fee for a single movie. Okay, let's start with a big number, 40.3 trillion rupees. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That's Netflix's market value today. We're talking about one of the most valuable media companies on the entire planet. So you gotta ask, right? How on earth did a simple DVD rental service get this big? Well, it's an epic tale. It's about taking huge risks, outsmarting giants, and yeah, completely rewiring the way we all watch, well, pretty much everything. Yep, you heard that right. It all started with a $40 late fee. The whole Netflix saga, this massive, multi-trillion rupee company, it was sparked by a moment of frustration that, let's be honest, anyone who's ever rented a movie from a physical store can totally relate to. All right, so here's how we're gonna break down this incredible journey. We'll start with the initial idea, then how they beat the giant, their massive streaming gamble, how they built a content kingdom, and finally, what's next for them. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, an idea, a DVD. We're gonna rewind the clock all the way back to 1997. Back then, the very idea of ordering a movie online and having it just show up in your mailbox, that was pure science fiction. So Reed Hastings gets hit with his $40 late fee for the movie Apollo 13, and he's annoyed, right? But then he has this idea. He and Mark Randolph look at this brand new thing called a DVD. It's light, it's durable, it's super cheap to mail. They thought, hey, what if we made an Amazon, but for movies? And boom, in 1998, Netflix.com goes live with just about every DVD you could get your hands on back then. But here's where it gets really smart, the subscription model. For one flat monthly fee, you could rent as many DVDs as you wanted, no due dates, no shipping fees, and this is the big one, absolutely no late fees. See, this wasn't just a pricing plan, it was a solution. It fixed the two biggest problems for rental stores, getting people to come back and getting rid of those late fees everyone hated. Now the reason to send a movie back wasn't to avoid a fine, it was to get the next one on your list. Genius! All right, section 2, beating the giant. So Netflix has this amazing new model, this powerful weapon, but they were a tiny startup going up against a true Goliath, the undisputed king of movie rentals, Blockbuster. Just look at the difference here. Blockbuster's whole business was built on things that annoyed you. You paid per movie, you had to drive to the store, and a huge chunk of their profit came from late fees. They literally made money by being inconvenient. Netflix, they flipped that completely on its head. One monthly fee, no late fees, a massive library, and it all came right to your door. Their model was built on making you happy, not punishing you. And this quote, wow, it says it all. You see, back in 2000, Netflix was actually losing money. So they went to Blockbuster and offered to sell the whole company for just $50 million. And the CEO of Blockbuster, John Antioco, basically laughed them out of the room. He called the whole .com thing overblown. He saw them as this tiny, silly little niche, not the company that was about to destroy his entire empire. Okay, next up, the streaming gamble. So Netflix won the DVD war. They beat Blockbuster. But they knew, even then, that mailing discs wasn't the endgame. It was just a stepping stone. The real future was digital, and that meant they had to take their biggest, most terrifying bet yet. Believe it or not, Reed Hastings was talking about the internet being the future way back in 1998. It took till 2007 for them to actually launch their Watch Now streaming service, and it was not a smooth ride. In 2008, they had this massive database crash that stopped all DVD shipments for 3 whole days. A total disaster, right? But it was actually a blessing in disguise. That failure forced them to move their entire operation to the cloud, to Amazon Web Services, which was a move that turned out to be absolutely crucial for them to scale up globally later on. And just look at this to see how risky that move really was. When they launched streaming, they had 70,000 titles you could get on DVD. You know how many they had for streaming? 1,000. A tiny, tiny fraction. They were basically destroying their own successful business on purpose, betting the entire farm on where they thought the world was going. So, streaming was clearly the future, but it came with this huge looming threat. What happens when the big studios realize they can just pull all their movies and shows off Netflix and start their own services? Netflix's answer was totally radical. Well, I guess we'll just have to become a studio ourselves. But before they started making their own stuff, they discovered something amazing they called the Netflix effect. Take a show like Breaking Bad. It was a great show, critics loved it, but not a ton of people were watching it on live TV. Then Netflix put the past seasons up for streaming. Suddenly, millions of people could binge watch it, get hooked, and then they'd tune in for the new episodes on cable. The show's ratings literally doubled. It proved that the Netflix platform itself could turn a good show into a massive cultural phenomenon.
This brings us to House of Cards, their first big original show. And this wasn't just some lucky guess. It was a cold, hard, data-driven bet. They looked at their data and saw, okay, a ton of our users love political dramas. They also saw that movies directed by David Fincher were super popular. And they knew that movies starring Kevin Spacey did really, really well. So they put all that together and were so sure it would work, they didn't just order a pilot. They ordered 2 full seasons up front for $100 million. That just wasn't how Hollywood worked. It changed everything.
And did that strategy work? Oh yeah. Just look at this number. Over 300 million paid subscribers worldwide. That kingdom of original content they built, it became the engine that just kept pulling in more and more people, keeping them hooked all over the world. All right, final section. What comes next? I mean, they've conquered the mailbox. They've conquered streaming. So where does a company that's already completely changed the world go from here? First, just to get a sense of their scale right now, look at this. On any given night in North America, over a third of all the traffic on the internet is just people watching Netflix. Think about that. That's more than YouTube and Amazon Prime Video combined. The level of dominance is it's staggering. But of course, they're not just sitting back and relaxing. They're pushing hard into new territory. They're getting into gaming, including games right in your subscription. They're doing live events, broadcasting comedy specials and reunions in real time. And now they're making a massive play for live sports, a 10-year, $5 billion deal to be the exclusive home of WWE Raw. They are not messing around. So when you boil it all down, the real story of Netflix is that they have never, ever stopped evolving. It all started with that one $40 late fee. And from there, it's just been a relentless series of solving problems and taking crazy, audacious risks. From DVDs to streaming to becoming a global production powerhouse, they just keep reinventing themselves. Which leaves us with the big question: what industry are they going to completely disrupt next?